প্ৰিয় দৰ্শক, এই ভিডিঅ'টিত মই পেডাগজিৰ লগত জড়িত গুৰুত্বপূৰ্ণ প্ৰশ্ন আৰু উত্তৰ ডিছকাছ কৰিম। প্ৰথম প্ৰশ্নটি হ'ল, which of the following is an example of a question that would promote critical thinking in children? তলৰ কোনটো এটা প্ৰশ্নৰ উদাহৰণ হয় যি প্ৰশ্নৰ দ্বাৰা চিলড্ৰেনৰ মাজত ক্ৰিটিকেল থিংকিংটোক বঢ়াব বা প্ৰমোট কৰিব? Draw a diagram of a plant cell. Suggest various ways to resolve water shortage in your state. এইটো আমাৰ উত্তৰ হ'ব। এইটো এটা উদাহৰণ হয় যাৰ দ্বাৰা ষ্টুডেণ্টৰ মাজত ক্ৰিটিকেল থিংকিংটো বাঢ়িব বা চিলড্ৰেনৰ মাজত। Suggest various ways to resolve water shortage in your state. আপোনাৰ অঞ্চলত বা আপোনাৰ ৰাজ্যত যি পানীৰ সমস্যা আছে বা পানী কম, সেই সমস্যাটোক লৈ বিভিন্ন ধৰণৰ ছাজেশ্যন বা সলিউশ্যন আগবঢ়োৱা। নেক্সট, in order to promote inclusion in education, which of the following becomes a barrier? যদি আমি শিক্ষাৰ ক্ষেত্ৰত ইনক্লুজনৰ কথা কওঁ, ইনক্লুজনৰ প্ৰমোশ্যনৰ কথা কওঁ, তেতিয়াহ'লে তলৰ কোনটো বাধা হৈ আহে? প্ৰিন্সিপাল অফ ইকুইটি, কালচাৰ অফ এম্পেথি, ইনএক্সেচিবল বিল্ডিংছ। শুদ্ধ উত্তৰ হ'ব ইনএক্সেচিবল বিল্ডিংছ। নেক্সট, which of the following practices goes against the philosophy of inclusive education? তলৰ কোনটো প্ৰেক্টিছ ইনক্লুচিভ এডুকেশ্যনৰ ফিলচফিৰ বিৰুদ্ধে যায় বা গৈছে? Giving importance to learners' voices, implementing culturally inclusive curriculum, keeping high expectations from selected few, responding positively to diversity. Keeping high expectations from selected few হ'ব। Which of the following disabilities is directly associated with the difficulty in social interaction? তলৰ কোনটো ডিজেবিলিটি ডাইৰেক্টলি জড়িত হয় ছ'চিয়েল ইণ্টাৰেকশ্যন কৰিব নোৱাৰাত? অটিজম হ'ব। প্ৰথমটোৱে শুদ্ধ হ'ব। Which of the following practices will hinder successful inclusion of students with hearing impairment? তলৰ কোনটো কাৰ্যকলাপ বা প্ৰেক্টিছে বাধা দিব ছাকচেছফুল ইনক্লুজন অফ ষ্টুডেণ্ট উইথ, যদি আমি হিয়াৰিং ইম্পেয়াৰমেণ্ট থকা ষ্টুডেণ্টক ইনক্লুড কৰিব বিচাৰোঁ? এলাউইং এক্সট্ৰা টাইম ফৰ প্ৰচেছিং ইনফৰমেশ্যন, কেপশ্যনিং অৰ স্ক্ৰিপ্টছ ফৰ এনাউন্সমেণ্ট অৰ ভিডিঅ'ছ, এনহেন্সিং লিপ ৰিডিং কণ্ডিশ্যনছ ইন ক্লাছৰুম। শুদ্ধ উত্তৰ ৰিলাইং এক্সটেন্সিভলি অন লেকচাৰ মোড অফ টিচিং। Next, in order to meet the needs of students with giftedness, a teacher should avoid what? Giftedness থকা ষ্টুডেণ্টৰ যি আৱশ্যকতা থাকিব নিড, তাক পূৰণ কৰিবলৈ শিক্ষকে কি কৰিব লাগে? Allowing independent learning opportunities, providing opportunities for self-directed activities, setting uniform goals for all students. শুদ্ধ উত্তৰ এয়াই হ'ব, setting uniform goals for all students. Assertion A কৈছে, a teacher should give the opportunities to students for applying the learning to different situations. Reason কৈছে, applying the learned concepts to particular situations supports deep, long-lasting knowledge among learners. গতিকে শুদ্ধটো দুটাই হ'ব। Both A and R are true and R is the correct explanation of A. Next, a teacher wants to facilitate cognitive monitoring skills among his students. Which of the following should be avoided by him for this purpose? এজন শিক্ষকে কগনিটিভ মনিটৰিং স্কিল এইটোক ফেচিলিটেট কৰিব বিচাৰিছে তেওঁৰ ষ্টুডেণ্টৰ মাজত। তলৰ কোনটো তেওঁ বাছি চলিব লাগে? Dismissing errors without discussion, এইটো dismissing errors without discussion. Next, students' failure is often connected with disinterest in learning task. This can be minimized by what? Students' failure is often connected with disinterest in learning task. Student fail কৰে আৰু ইয়াৰ সাধাৰণতে কাৰণটো জড়িত হৈ থাকে ষ্টুডেণ্টে ইণ্টাৰেষ্টটো নাথাকে মানে তেওঁলোকৰ ষ্টুডেণ্টৰ ইণ্টাৰেষ্টৰ অভাৱ গতিকে ইয়াক আপুনি কেনেকৈ কমাব conditioning them to get the task completed as easily as possible helping students to understand the relevance of learning task এইটো শুদ্ধ helping students to understand the relevance of learning task next learning becomes effective and relevant when learning to খুব ফলপ্ৰসূ আৰু খুব relevant হৈ পৰে প্ৰাসংগিক কেতিয়া new content is disconnected with previous knowledge passive imitation is repeated several times by students are actively involved in the process of meaning making শুদ্ধ উত্তৰ which of the following questions exemplify procedural knowledge তলৰ কোনটো sentence to বা option to a procedure knowledge or উদাহৰণ দিছে state Pythagoras theorem name the main components present in food how to ride a bicycle শুদ্ধ উত্তৰ হ'ব which of the following statements about metacognition is not correct metacognitionৰ প্ৰসংগত তলৰ কোনটো শুদ্ধ নহয় metacognition helps in reflecting on one's own knowledge metacognition is a lower order knowledge এইটো শুদ্ধ assertion the age ranges prescribed for development milestones are only averages reason children develop at different rates and reach developmental milestones at different points choose the correct option both A and R are true and R is the correct explanation of A এইটো শুদ্ধ At which stage can children solve statements of propositional logic such as if all humans are fish and some fish are intelligent are all humans intelligent তলৰ মানে children সকলে এনেকুৱা propositional logic statement solve কোনটো বয়সত কৰিব পাৰে আৰু সেই statementটো হৈছে যদি সকলো মানুহ মাছ হয় কিছুমান মাছ ইন্টেলিজেন্ট হয় বুদ্ধিয়ক হয় সকলো মানুহ বুদ্ধিয়ক নেকি sensory motor stage pre operational stage concrete operational stage formal operational stage শুদ্ধ উত্তৰ next which of the following is a critique of Jean Piaget's theory of cognitive development তলৰ কোনটো উক্তি Jean Piaget যি theory আছে cognitive developmentৰ তাৰ সমালোচনা হয় language plays a very important role in cognitive development of children এইটো শুদ্ধ Vygotsky method in which teachers and students collaborate in learning is called what Vygotsky যি প্ৰণালী আছে তাত শিক্ষক আৰু ষ্টুডেণ্ট একেলগে লাৰ্নিং কৰে কোলাবৰেচন কৰে মানে লাৰ্নিঙত কি ক'ব তাক ডিস্কভাৰী লাৰ্নিং ৰেচিপ্ৰকেল টিচিং সেইটোৱে হ'ব ৰেচিপ্ৰকেল টিচিং তাৰপিছত according to Lev Vygotsky's theory scaffolding is what Lev Vygotsky theory মতে scaffolding কি হয় it entails changing the quantity as well as the quality of the support provided to the child এইটোৱে শুদ্ধ at which stage of Lawrence Kohlberg's moral development theory do individuals base their judgment on individual rights and justice for greater good at which stage of Lawrence Kohlberg's moral development theory তলৰ কোনটো ষ্টেজত মানে কোনটো ষ্টেজৰ লৰেন্স কোলবাৰ্গ মৰেল ডেভেলপমেণ্ট থিয়ৰীৰ মতে মানুহে তেওঁলোকৰ জাজমেণ্টটো ইণ্ডিভিজুৱেল ৰাইট আৰু জাষ্টিছক কাৰণে দিয়ে যাতে সবৰ কাৰণে ভাল হয় obedience and punishment orientation good boy good girl orientation authority and social order orientation universal ethical principles orientation এইটোৱে হ'ব universal ethical principles orientation next Howard Gardner কি হয় তেওঁ কি কৰিছিল critiques the conventional thinking of intelligence as a fixed trait, proposed 12 different types of intelligence, gave the theory of creativity, proposed the unitary construct of intelligence হ'ব Next, according to National Education Policy NEP 2020, children at primary level learn best when কেতিয়া children খুব ভালকে শিকে একটোৱে শুদ্ধ the medium of instruction is their home language mother tongue মাতৃভাষাত শিকাব লাগে Next, in progressive education the learners are what progressive educationত learner কি কৰে এক autonomous and have a curiosity to learn এইটোৱে শুদ্ধ In a classroom built on socio-constructivist framework কি হ'ব তেতিয়া children listen passively while the teacher talks material is meant only for display শুদ্ধ উত্তৰ seating arrangement changes according to the activity Next, which of the following is not a correct strategy for a teacher to address gender stereotyping in a middle school classroom? তলৰ কোনটো এটা ভাল কৌশল নহয় শিক্ষকৰ দ্বাৰা যেতিয়া সেইজন নিৰ্দিষ্ট শিক্ষকে stereotyping-ক এড্ৰেছ কৰিব মিডল স্কুলৰ ক্লাছৰুমত discuss gender as a social construction encourage non-sexist behaviors discuss portrayal of women and men in textbooks critically encourage boys to take up maths and science and girls to take up language etu Next What pedagogical strategies should schools adopt to cater to individual differences among learner? কেনে ধৰণৰ pedagogical strategy ল'ব লাগে স্কুলে যাতে বিভিন্ন ধৰণৰ individual difference learner মাজত থাকে তাক মোকাবিলা কৰিবলৈ Removing all differences among the learners, dismissing all differences among the learners, treating all learners in the same manner irrespective of their individual needs, catering to individual needs by preparing individualized education plans. Next, in an inclusive classroom, when a teacher plans to teach a topic involving students from diverse backgrounds, the teacher should do what? কি কৰিব লাগিব তেতিয়া? Designate only bright students to answer, involve only learners with high achievement in the discussion, allow equal participation of all learners in classroom discussions. Next, a student is unable to pay attention in class and gets distracted easily. He is also unable to complete his classwork. The child is most likely to have what? Etu hobo attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADHD. For inclusion of students with hearing impairment, which of the following is not helpful? Hearing impairment থকা studentক যদি আমি অন্তৰ্ভুক্ত কৰিব বিচাৰো ক্লাছত তলৰ কোনটো সহায় নকৰিব Making sure a student can see the teacher's lips clearly, using sign language, sitting arrangement close to the teacher, avoiding extra time for processing information. Next, which of the following is not an example of intrinsic motivation? তলৰ কোনটো intrinsic motivation উদাহৰণ নহয় reward to নহয় Next, students should score less marks during classroom assessment because student classroom assessment কম marks পাব লাগে কিয় It would not promote educational inclusion. It would discourage students from exploring new areas. It ensures carefully monitored learning. Next, assertion A. To ensure meaningful learning, it is important that learners link something new to what they already know. Reason, learning occurs in a linear and structured way. Both A and R are true, but R is not the correct explanation of A. Do it to correct. Students should be given corrective feedback immediately after errors because student hokolok লগালগ তেওঁলোকৰ মানে ভুলবোৰৰ ফিডবেকবোৰ দিব লাগে কোনটো শুদ্ধ কিয় শুদ্ধ উত্তৰ It facilitates quick assessment of concepts. Next, while teaching a group of students with diverse needs, a teacher should adopt which of the following practices? Higher expectations from advanced learners, exclude exceptions and accept differences, facilitate an environment of collaboration. শুদ্ধ উত্তৰ facilitate an environment of collaboration. Next, which of the following is an example of applying learning to new situations? শুদ্ধ উত্তৰ learning budget processes in school and applying the concept to financial planning. Next, what pedagogical strategies should schools adopt to cater to individual differences among learners? শুদ্ধ উত্তৰ preparing individual education plans for individual learners. এইটো ৰিপিট হৈ গৈছে কাৰণ ৰিপিট কৈ আহিছে মই প্ৰিভিয়াছ ইয়াৰ কুৱেশ্যন পৰা এইটো উঠাইছোঁ. নেক্সট, উইচ অফ দ্য ফলোইং ইম'শ্যনছ হিণ্ডাৰ্ছ এ ষ্টুডেণ্টছ লাৰ্ণিং? তলৰ কোনটো ইম'শ্যনে ষ্টুডেণ্টৰ লাৰ্ণিঙত বাধা আহে? শুদ্ধ উত্তৰ ফিয়াৰ. নেক্সট, during a classroom discussion on the concept of cold water, a student responds that water in lakes freezes because it is naturally colder. Which strategy should a teacher adopt to address this misconception? বুজি পাইছে কি হ'ব শুদ্ধ উত্তৰ? Completely discarding this answer. শুদ্ধ উত্তৰ হ'ব accepting the response as partially correct but emphasizing scientific logic. Next, a group of children enact scenes from a popular dance reality show in their play. As a judge, 8 years old Sana gives comments on other children's dances. This situation highlights the important role of dance in the socialization of children. Religious institutions, family, media, school. শুদ্ধ উত্তৰ media হ'ব. Next, according to Jean Piaget's theory of cognitive development, in which stage children gain the ability to seriate objects in specified order. Sensory motor, pre-operational, concrete operational, formal operational. Concrete operational hobo. Next, according to Jean Piaget, an ongoing process which refines and transforms mental structures is called what? Deferred imitation, object permanence, assimilation, equilibration. Equilibration hobo. Next, after seeing students struggling to solve a problem, a teacher gave them hints and half-solved examples to assist them. As per Lev Vygotsky's theory, this is an example of what? Scaffolding, expository teaching, seriation, assimilation. শুদ্ধ উত্তৰ scaffolding. Next, which theories asserted that cognitive development is a collaborative process? Lev Vygotsky, Ivan Pavlov, B.F. Skinner, John B. Watson. Lev Vygotsky. Next, one of the chief criticism of Lawrence Kohlberg's theory is that his theory undermines the feminine perspective. He did not refer to Piaget's theory of moral development. He does not propose specific responses of children at each stage. He did not conduct any research on children. His theory undermines the feminine perspective. Next, Howard Gardner suggested that there are distinct kinds of intelligence. Which one of the following intelligence was not proposed by Gardner? Musical, linguistic, body, kinesthetic, practical. Practical. Which of the following illustrates a constructivist learning approach in a progressive classroom? Multiple interpretations, rote memorization and verbatim recall, rewards and punishment, repeated drill and practice. Multiple interpretations. Next, in the context of multilingualism, which of the following is an appropriate approach? Students should be penalized for using their mother tongue or local language during school hours. The school should admit only those students whose mother tongue is same as the language of instruction. The teachers should respect and create a classroom environment which supports inclusion of all students. The teachers should ignore children who use their mother tongue in the class. The teachers should respect and create a classroom environment which supports inclusion of all students. Next, children who often see their parents cross normative gender lines such as mothers repairing the appliances and fathers taking care of the baby are what? Less likely to adhere to gender stereotypes, more likely to practice gender stereotypes, less likely to practice gender stereotypes, less likely to break gender norms prevalent in society. Less likely to adhere to gender stereotypes. Next, the purposes of assessment according to National Education Policy NEP 2020 are what? To generate stress and induce fear among students to ensure learning levels, to revise teaching learning processes, to optimize learning and development to support students inside and outside the classroom. ABD, SC, ABC, BCD, BCD have a hood. Dynamic assessment helps to understand what? The intelligence quotient of a child, relative rank of the student in comparison to her peers, the specific learning needs of a child, if a child is fit to study in regular school or not, the specific learning needs of a child. Next, for successful inclusion of students with giftedness, which of the following strategies a teacher should avoid to use? Allow opportunities to express diverse perspectives, provide academic enrichment activities to giftedness, implement teacher-centered curriculum, allow students to pursue independent projects based on their interests. Implement teacher-centered curriculum শুদ্ধ উত্তৰ হ'ব। গতিকে ইয়াতে সামৰিলোঁ। আশা কৰোঁ এই কুৱেশ্যনসমূহে আপোনাক আপোনাৰ অলৰেডি যি প্ৰেক্টিছ হৈ আছে সেই প্ৰেক্টিছক পুনৰ এটা ৰাস্তা দিব যে ঠিকে আছেনে নাই। ধন্যবাদ।